Hello and a very warm welcome to a new edition of the KulturCafe. As you know, the KulturCafe is a platform where we talk to the movers and shakers of the cultural scene in Austria, Ukraine and beyond. It is also a platform where we present interesting artists. A man who definitely meets this criteria as interesting is Austrian photographer and photographic artist Peter Laґler. Peter Laґler, a very warm welcome to the KulturCafe.
Hello.
Hello. You are in Vienna, yes?
Yes.
All right. I must say, I've been very much looking forward to this conversation, not only because I know you personally, but also because you are our first photographer in this program. And this, of course, is no coincidence, because you have a very special connection with Ukraine. We will talk about this special connection in a minute, but I would like to start this conversation with a different question. How have you experienced these past few weeks and months, difficult months of self-isolation, of quarantine? Has it been a time of quiet creativity for you, or have you felt the blues like so many other artists?
Yeah, in the end, when I came home from Kiev, it was 14th of March. Then I went to self-isolation because not to bring danger to other people. So these 2 weeks I worked a lot in my apartment. And the time after I started to restore an historic clock, a 300-year-old clock, and started working a lot in garden and photo work and.
But you remain positive, yeah?
In the end, yes. Sometimes it was a little sad not to meet friends and have no social contact, but in the end it was not very bad this time.
Right. You mentioned something just now that I would like to talk about a little bit. Now you are a full-blooded photographer, but that was not always the case. In your earlier life, you were a certified watchmaker, and you also were an art dealer. You had a big art shop in downtown Vienna. Can you tell us a little bit about your earlier phase of life?
Yeah, after my education and military time, I was working in Viennese first district as watchmaker. And I opened my first shop in 1994 when I was less than 25 years. It was just 12 square meters. And yeah, I was restoring and selling clocks and already a little bit of art.
Right.
After the years, my shop grew up to 256 square meters, even the same restoring of clocks. And the second part was selling US 50s, jukeboxes, pinball machines, all animal signs, advertise, graphics, all this stuff.
It's my understanding that at some point you got very popular in the Viennese scene, so to say. Your shop became a hangout, for celebrities and other important people. Is that correct?
Don't say important, of course, important people, but also high society. From 1998 on, I was every year part of Best of Vienna as hotspot. It is from a big city magazine, in addition, one time a year. And of course, it's bringing a lot of people and so-called other bears in Austria.
Right.
And it was jokey time, but sometimes very hard.
Yeah. Well, as a watchmaker, I suppose you need to have a love for details. You need to be very precise. Is this something? Are these qualities that help you now that you are a photographer?
For sure. I'm focused on details on the photos, and everything has to be everything has to be absolutely perfect. And this, of course, I have from my career as watchmaker, and it's still a hobby for me. So perfection has to be 100% in the work as photographer too.
Right. Peter, this past few weeks and months, everybody has been talking about crises. Actually, it's crises. First, we had a health crisis. Now it's also an economic crisis. It's really challenging times. For you personally, your big crisis, your big personal crisis happened 18 years ago in 2002, when you got very sick, when you were hospitalized, when you spent weeks and weeks in the hospital, and where at some point your condition was critical. What happened? Can you tell us?
Yeah, it started on 5th of May with a brain stroke, and just completely unexpected. Then I came to hospital, came home, back to hospital, then another brain stroke and another stroke. And so I was for a long time in hospital because they don't know why this happened. And after maybe 2 months, they found out that it was a genetic malformation in my brain. So they decided to save my life. It was the only possibility to make a brain surgery, but nobody survived this kind of surgery before. So they told me, stop everything, clear everything, but I didn't do because I was sure I would be alive. So this operation was end of August this year, and then I was in hospital more or less and rehabilitation centers till the end of November.
Right.
I had a lot of physical and cognitive disabilities, and so it was no joking time, let's say.
Yeah. But you made it. You've made it, and you started anew. We'll talk about this in a second as well. I was wondering, when you go through a crisis like this, at least when you look back in retrospect, is there something positive you took with you from this crisis? Has it changed you?
For sure. When I came back to life, let's say, it was a new world for me. It was a new life, a new reality, and everything has changed completely. You know how many real friends you have, and don't have much friends in these situations. But they also developed for me and found for me the beautiness of nature and of art. So I started reading a lot when I was able after 1 year to read again. I started visiting museums, exhibitions. I kicked out the TV of my home. I live since this time I live without TV. And yeah, I changed everything in the end for me. Like
Right. You also lost everything. Basically, you lost your livelihood. Eventually, you had to close down your shop. You lost your income, of course, your source of income. The question is, and it's almost a philosophical question, did Peter Laґler have to lose everything to become the man he is today? I mean, is the new Peter Laґler, the photographic artist, a result also of this crisis?
Maybe yes.
Yeah.
Look, because I found the beautiness of nature, I started sailing. I've been before never on a sailing boat. Yeah? So I started sailing. It's contact with nature, but even with elements, because elements on even small lake in Austria or on the big ocean are completely other, and you feel how important you are as human. You're like this, like nothing, yeah. And the next 10 years, I started for sailing license for inshore. After sailing instructor inshore, then I went to sea. And in 2014, I finished my education with the ocean master, even instructor, ocean instructor.
Right. Were these years that followed your time in the hospital also the years when you picked up photography already, or when did this happen?
In the end, I started 12 years ago. More and more I did, yeah. But I started in the end 12 years ago when I bought my first digital camera.
Right.
In 2011, I started real hard working, and yeah, it got more and more and more. And since 2014, it's my absolute profession.
Right. Peter, let's talk a little bit about your special relationship with Ukraine. I know you love this country very much. You love the people. You've been a regular. You're coming here every year, sometimes several times. You've exhibited your works here in Kiev and in other places. But most importantly, you have worked extensively on the topic of Chernobyl in your photographic work. You went to Chernobyl several times. How did you discover Ukraine, and why did you choose Chernobyl for your photography?
Look, my first meeting with somebody from Ukraine was in springtime 2015 in Slovenia on the seaside. It was one of the saddest days of my life, and I was at a bar in the evening, and I met a guy. They said it's a painter, and he just bought a house. There's a very popular painter in Ukraine, and he lives there now, and we got real good friends. After a few months, I visited him again, and he introduced me to another Ukrainian artist from Lviv. And he was fascinated from my photos and invited me to make an exhibition in Lviv. So in autumn 2015, I went first time to Ukraine, Dakar. Then I was invited to Dnipro, this time Petrovsk, for an art symposium. So it's first time the eastern part of Ukraine. And so I fell in love to this country and the people, and I visit since this time approximately 20 times this country. Yeah, in 2017, I was in Kiev and I got the chance to visit Chernobyl. I didn't know that it's possible. So I did it. First time it was 1st of May, and I was focused to make a reportage for myself. But what I see there was absolutely fascinating for me, and I was deeply impressed of all I see. So after this day, I went to Chernobyl Museum in Kiev. It was fascinated me again. And I want to buy some information, but I didn't find. So I looked at bookshops and didn't find. Even back in Austria, I don't find usable stuff. And so I started collecting information on several internet channels, websites, just what I can get. I did it maybe for 7 months. And since this time, Chernobyl is a favorite topic for me.
All right. Okay, maybe this is a good moment where we look at some of your pictures that you have provided. Let's do it like this. Peter,
Yeah.
maybe you comment on what we see.
This is one of the main roads of city of Pripyat, the ghost town. Pripyat, everybody in Ukraine knows, I think. It has 50,000 inhabitants before, and now it's the biggest ghost town in the world. And it's so surreal, this picture. It looks like a theater police. It's absolutely surreal.
Yes. Yes, very impressive. Next one.
Yeah, this is an education room in radar station Tuga. There are some of these rooms just like they've been left more than 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, of course, is a very strong picture, yeah.
In Pripyat, the people were told at evacuation, you're back in 2 or 3 days. So the children put their toys to the windows that they welcome them when they come back home. But they never came back home. And this motif I found in a very small village called Zalicia. It's in the zone near Chernobyl.
Yeah. So this has been there for 34 years, untouched.
Maybe somebody sit there later, but this definitely is there since this time. And yeah, it's just, it's strong, but it tells very strong and very impressive the situation there. The absolute sadness.
What is this?
This is the in Chernobyl town, the cemetery of villages and cities. In Ukrainian part of zone, 96 villages and towns has to be left. So 96. And there, on this place, this park, is the name written of every one of this. And this sculpture is made of some old iron. And it's from Baptist John, the angel who is blowing the horn.
Yeah.
And the fire comes down from heaven.
Right.
Yeah, this is near radar station Tuga, old Soviet propaganda.
Yes.
And
It's a weird sort of beauty. I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, how the mural and the tree blend into each other.
Yeah, even it was 1st of May, a lot of trees were flowering, so it was just, yeah, beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is radar station Tuga. It was the biggest in the world. It was from Soviet, a secret project.
Yes.
And this structure, it's just a small part of it. It's 148 meters high and about 800 meters wide. It's an unbelievable monster in the middle of nowhere there.
Yeah. Where nobody knows whether it ever functioned properly.
Maybe. I think,
yeah.
Yeah,
another very, very, very strong picture, I think.
Yeah, this is Children's Garden from Kopachi. It's very close to reactor. This village was completely destroyed after because it was of organic materials. Only the Children's Garden was made by bricks, so they just left it. And this is the garden of this Children's Garden. I see this, and it's
right.
Yeah, very impressive. Yeah, this is one of the last halls. It's close to radar station Tuga. Some of office buildings, I don't know exactly what the use was for.
Right. And is this, I mean, for those who sign up for a tour of Chernobyl, is this open, or was this like a special treatment?
Oh, yeah. You have to go there by organized tours.
Yes.
You have to, maybe 2 weeks before, you have to go there to give them a copy of your passport. And then you get like a visa. So it's written when you can go.
Okay.
Which checkpoint in the zone, when you have to leave, which car, which group.
Mm-hmm.
So now when I was there last October, you already have a chip with QR code. So everything is registered and to know who you are, where you are, and everything.
All right.
Yeah, this is also in Children's Garden, just the head of a doll.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the cinema in Pripyat. It's called Prometei, from Prometheus. It was such a beautiful building.
You know what this reminded me of? It reminded me of Hundertwasser architecture.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Yeah. And
even in front, there was a big monument of Prometheus. Now it's standing in Chornobylь at the power station because they were enthusiastic about of this power.
Right.
Power of atomic power, energy, never ending, and.
Right.
Yeah, this is the entrance from radar station Tuga. It's the old door, and they put there a Lenin column. And when you find the right angle, you have this picture combination. I'm photo designer in education, so it's design. Yeah. Nobody sees this combination.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, this is in Pripyat Children's Garden. This photo I took last October. It's a doll in a lost left doll.
Yeah.
This is inside of Children's Garden. Can you imagine how beautiful it was before?
Yeah.
And this sign I found outside in Pripyat.
Yeah.
But 34 years, no children.
That's the remains of an amusement park here, I suppose.
Yeah, but this amusement park should be opened 1st of May, 1986. So it never was opened, this Luna Park. It's in Pripyat, and this is never used in the end, but still standing there like to remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is inside of reactor number 5. This reactor never was built ready because they stopped when after accident. They've been working 4 reactors, 1 to 4, 5 and 6 have been under construction.
Oh, right.
So reactor
that was never completed.
5 and 6 was never completed, but 1, 2, and 3 start working again, and the last was closed in the year 2000. So they work another 14 years.
All right.
Yeah, this is Children's Camp Emerald. It's also very close to reactor, maybe 4 or 5 kilometers. It's prohibited zone, nobody can go there normally. And it was a children's camp with maybe 60 huts, 70 huts like this in a beautiful pine forest. And this was such a special light. Everything was like 34 years ago. The tombs were even from Soviet time painted. And you sit there, you don't hear anything. It was, I never had this feeling like there. And all this region burned down completely. Now it will.
Well, can you describe a little bit the feeling that you, or the emotions that you felt? Or was it peaceful? Was it sad? Was it depressing?
No, absolutely peaceful, because it was in the end so beautiful. There, nothing happened. Nobody was insured because this time it was not working. This children's camp. It was too early, the accident of Chornobylь. Yeah, and when you sit there, you hear the children playing around. Even the toys were lying around and everything. It was even the people. We have been 5 people, and you get quiet and you just look.
Right.
Here you see the windows just.
Yeah. Good. Wonderful. This completes our first. Here you are. Our first series of pictures that we wanted to show. I would also like to mention that you have published a book actually on your works on Chernobyl. Do you have an example of the book on you? Can you show us the book?
Yeah.
No, other way.
Oh, no.
All right. Okay. And that is published in German language.
It's published in German language in the end of 2018. It contains 30 sites, or approximately 30 sites of information, of text about the beginning of construction of Chernobyl power station in 1970, then about accident and about the consequences till now.
Okay.
And the book also contains, I think, 142 photos.
Will there be a Ukrainian edition of that as well?
It depends. When I find an editing house, I already have a ready Ukrainian translation, so we can start tomorrow to make it.
All right. Maybe I should also mention, if somebody, some of our viewers have questions, of course, we invite you to ask Peter any questions you have just by dropping them in the comment box of this Facebook event. Peter, a journalist wrote about you, and I have to translate. Actually, Peter Laґler is not a photographer, but a photographic artist, and the emphasis being on graphic here. What did she mean? I think we need to talk about your present work. It's a new art project, which you began a bit more than a year ago, which you call Colors of Black. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Every artist is looking for something new. I never start copying somebody, because the moment you start copying, you're already a loser. So I was always looking for some new, my own style, my real own style. We spoke about before, I was watchmaker, so I have a big, big love for mechanic. So it was for me clear that it can be a combination. I love historic Leicas, like this camera here.
Mm-hmm.
They are from the 1930s till the 1950s, and I always want to combine this. Then I told you before I was visiting a lot of exhibitions, and so I found, for example, Brassai, the photo artist from the 1930s. I was very impressed by the movie The Dritte Mann. I don't know the English title. I'm deeply impressed from Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec,
Yeah.
and from Japanese wood cut prints, from the graphics. And so I developed for me more and more the style, and I have the result we will see soon, I think.
Right. I think we should jump right into the second block of pictures that we have prepared, so that people understand better what you are talking about. Let's look at this.
Yeah.
All right. This is, of course, a very radical, I would say, a departure from your previous style. It's new, it's very different, and I think it's very, very exciting what you're doing. Tell us about, when you look at that. This is, I can tell instantly, this is a lengthy process. It starts with a black and white photography. Is that correct?
Yeah, on classic roll film, 36 millimeters.
Right. And you usually you use your Leicas for these pictures, or?
I only use historic Leicas because they have some, because of this up to 80 years old technique, they are not perfect, of course, yeah. But these problems the cameras have and the pictures have from perspectives, I use for my photo work, even the grain of the films.
Right.
And the construction of the pictures is absolute classic art. And so the combination is my own private style, and I developed, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I never before and after.
Let's look at another example. It looks almost like a Japanese or a Chinese traditional, painting. It's so delicate, beautiful.
Yeah, it's a little bit influenced by Japanese woodcut prints like Kokusai,
Yes.
Hiroshige, or the name of all these artists. But I did it in my style, without people and nature, which is important for me, and yeah, or the hometown Vienna.
Right. There's another one.
This, for example, is the oldest church of Vienna, the Ruprechtskirche called.
Right. I mean, I have a question. When I watch this, the moment you identify a motive, do you already visualize the end result, or is the end result, how should I say, unpredictable, because it's subject to a creative process that ends, of course, at home in front of the computer, with sometimes, I suppose, many hours in front of the computer. How does it work?
Look, when I find a motif and I make a picture, of course, I have the picture construction in my head, yeah?
Right.
When I see a motif, I don't make a photo, I'm walking around maybe for hours to find exact my perspective I want to have. Because even the smallest leaf inside can disturb a photo or can make it great, it depends, yeah? After I have my film, I see the shades of light and darkness. I cannot say I make this picture for yellow like this.
Mm-hmm.
The picture tells me what I'm allowed to do. I cannot say, okay, you get yellow, you get red, or this number of color. The picture has already inside, and I just have to find it out.
Right. Also very beautiful. How many hours do you spend editing or working on a picture like that before it's complete?
It depends, of course, but up to 5, 6, 7 hours, for example. Yeah?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that I'm satisfied after. This picture, for example, you show me now, I did in May last year. and I was working with it, and I never was satisfied. And then I developed my technique more and more and find other ways. And maybe in October, I took it again, and then I get this result, and now I'm satisfied.
Right. This is also spectacular. Of course, we all know what that is. Tell us a little bit.
Nobody see this view before, and nobody see this impression before.
Yeah, very, very beautiful, stunning. So for those who don't know, this is in right in the heart of Vienna, St. Stephen's Cathedral to the right, and on the left, a very popular restaurant, right?
Yeah.
So the technique that you are using is actually never finished, if I understand correctly. You're constantly developing new approaches. You're constantly experimenting. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's correct. Even with new films, film materials, and it's a never-ending story for me. So it took me half a year to have the first usable results, and now on these experiences, I create more and more and more and new, different. Maybe many people don't see what I create new.
Yeah.
And it's the last point to make from a good photo a very good or perfect photo. Not perfect like this, but very good.
This is also spectacular, of course.
This was very deep fog in my home region. It is near Hofen an der Ybbs. It was absolute foggy.
So that's just for explanation, that's in the province of Lower Austria. That's how far away from Vienna? 100 kilometers, maybe?
150 around, yeah.
Yeah. All right. And that's all these pictures that were taken in winter or fall, or there are no leaves on the trees during the cold season anyway. Yeah.
This was winter. Before this picture was maybe May. But I like the structure and the details, and as more leaves you have, as less details you have.
Yeah. Something very different, urban for a moment.
Yeah, it's
the Vienna experts will know where that is. We should do a quiz actually on this one.
Yeah, maybe next time.
Yeah. No, but we can reveal the answer already. Tell the audience where this was taken.
It's from Upper Belvedere, the main door, the entrance door.
Right. All right.
For example, at this picture, you see the grain of fin in the gray background.
Mm-hmm.
Not made by me, it's just the dots of the grain of fin.
Yeah. Superb. Also very nice. So whether something turns out yellow or blue or red, or you cannot influence, or we can influence, or
I can influence. I can look for it, but it's already in the black. Black is a color, a mixture.
Yes.
And as deep or as light the black or dark gray or whatever, it has different colors inside. And I find these colors and put out these colors as my techniques.
Right. So everything, you don't add anything, you just filter out certain aspects of what is there already, correct?
Yeah, I don't use the classic Photoshop. I only use a contrast program.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not working. I don't put in, maybe I put small pieces out. If it's a cigarette on the floor, I put away, for example, yeah?
Yeah.
But I don't put something in or change the view, or I cannot do it.
In terms of light and everything, I mean, you just you take what you have. Also very different again, and spectacular, I find.
Yeah, everybody was stepping there 100 times, but nobody see this view. It's just in first district of Vienna, just beside Peter's Church. Everybody see, but nobody's looking up there.
Yeah. Yeah, the perspective is wonderful. Very nice. That is something different again. This is the ceiling and a tree growing.
Yeah, but it's a hole in the roof of this building. I think it's a ministry on the backside. It's between Ringstrasse and Vienna River, close to Arani already.
Right.
There are two holes in the roof, and they plant trees that grow up there.
Mm-hmm.
I see this first time, and yeah, for this, everybody who is interested in art.
Again, Vienna quiz. Where is that?
I think all Japanese would know the answer.
Maybe Ukrainians as well. Ukrainians,
so.
many Ukrainians know Vienna quite well, actually.
Yeah.
So let's help everybody who does not know. This is where the Sezession.
Vienna Sezession.
Yes. Good. And this one?
This is Chornobylь. This is inside of the cooling tower of reactor number 6.
Okay.
Even not finished.
Yeah.
This, you know.
St. Stephen's in Vienna. Also very beautiful. This is, I put this one as the last picture. It's one of my all-time favorites, and I've seen a few of your pictures, and they're all, of course, very beautiful. But this I find particularly beautiful. So nice. This is in Schönbrunn, right?
Schönbrunn, the palm tree house.
Yes.
And I took this picture in July. There are millions of people are running around. How to catch this picture without people? I was waiting so long, but I did it.
Okay. Perfect. Here we are again.
Hello.
Thank you so much. I mean, what everybody wants to know, of course, now is when will we see your pictures, your recent works in Kiev or in Ukraine?
It depends, of course, of the crisis we have now this time, but originally basically was planned to show them in late autumn, maybe November or even October, with my curator Alexei Alyosha-Malek. And there is a new gallery he promised me he will show us, and we will see. I hope it happens.
Right. Okay. Let's check out the questions. Galina says, Peter, bravo, you're a champ. Yes, Andreas asked you, what kind of camera does Peter Laґler use on his photo trips? We answered this one already. Then Andreas also asks, what kind of program does Peter Laґler use for post-production? Photoshop, we answered this already. These are all the questions that we have for now. All right. This brings us to the end of this edition of the KulturCafe. Peter, thank you so much for joining us today. It was a true pleasure having you here.
It was a big pleasure for me and honor.
I wish you much creativity, lots of inspiration, and good spirits for your upcoming projects. And I hope very much that before long we will see a return to some sort of normal, and that we will see you come back to Kiev. I'm very much looking forward to having a beer with you. I'm looking forward to that already.
It will be very nice. Even tomorrow I would like to have.
Yes, we'll do it for sure. Got to be optimistic. To our viewers, I would like to say thank you very much for joining us today. Please stay tuned for the next edition of the KulturCafe from Lviv. I will be back on the 2nd of July with my guest, Gottlieb Wallisch, who is an internationally acclaimed pianist, and we will talk about Beethoven. That's it for today. Thank you very much again. Take care. Servus.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.